Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John C. Maxwell. Introduction. Imagine for a moment. You're standing at the foot of Mont Blanc, the highest peak in the French Alps. The air is crisp, the sky is a brilliant blue, and the summit seems to touch the heavens. You're part of a group, ready for the climb of a lifetime. The night before, your seasoned French guide gathered everyone and laid out the single most important rule for success. He said, to reach the top, you must carry only what is necessary for climbing. You must leave everything else behind. But there's a young, ambitious Englishman in your group. He's strong, confident, and perhaps a little arrogant. The next morning, he shows up with a brightly colored blanket, large wedges of cheese, a bottle of fine wine, 2 cameras with heavy lenses, and even bars of chocolate. The guide shakes his head. You'll never make it with all that, he warns. Only the bare necessities. The young man scoffs and sets off ahead of everyone, determined to prove him wrong. As your group begins the long, difficult ascent, you start to notice things scattered along the path. First, a brightly colored blanket snagged on a rock. A little further up, you find a bottle of wine and some cheese, abandoned in the snow. Then, you see the expensive camera equipment, and finally, half-eaten bars of chocolate. And when you finally reach the summit, breathless and triumphant, who do you see waiting for you? The young Englishman. He made it, yes, but only after he was forced to let go of everything that wasn't essential. He learned a hard lesson on that mountain. You can't have it all if you want to reach the top. That story isn't just about climbing a mountain. It's about life. It's about leadership. And it's at the very heart of one of the most foundational leadership books ever written, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, by the legendary John C. Maxwell. For decades, Maxwell has been a guide for millions, selling over 30 million books and coaching leaders in every country on earth. And this book, this is his roadmap. It's the book he recommends to everyone starting their leadership journey, because it answers the one question that defines a leader's life: what must I carry, and what must I be willing to leave behind? Today, we're going to climb that mountain together. I promise you that by the end of our journey, you will understand the profound difference between being a boss and being a leader. You will hold in your hands a blueprint for developing influence, earning respect, and making a real impact on the people around you, whether you're leading a company, a small team, your family, or simply yourself. This isn't just about becoming a leader. It's about discovering the leader who already lives inside of you. Book summary. So, where does this journey begin? For most of us, leadership seems like this big, intimidating title. It's a position you're given, a corner office, a nameplate on a desk. We think to ourselves, I'll start developing as a leader when I get the promotion, or I'm not a born leader, so this isn't for me. But John C. Maxwell looks at all of that and gently shakes his head. He tells us we've been looking at the wrong map all along. He says, in what is perhaps his most famous teaching, that leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Think about that. It's not about titles. It's not about seniority. It's not about your place on an organizational chart. It's about one simple thing. Can you get others to follow you? As Maxwell loves to say, he who thinketh he leadeth and hath no one following him is only taking a walk. This idea changes everything. It means leadership is available to everyone, because every single one of us, even the most introverted person, influences thousands of people over a lifetime. The real question isn't if you're a leader, but what kind of leader you will choose to become. To help us understand this journey of influence, Maxwell created a powerful model that I believe is one of the most brilliant leadership frameworks ever designed. He calls it the 5 levels of leadership. Imagine it as a ladder. Every time you interact with someone, you are on one of these 5 rungs. Your goal is to climb higher, because as you climb, your influence grows. Level 1 is position. This is the bottom rung of the ladder. It's where everyone starts. You have this level because you have a title, you're the manager, the coach, the parent, the team captain. People follow you at this level because they have to. Your authority comes from your job description, not from you. Maxwell shares a story from his early days as a young, 22-year-old leader. He walked into his first board meeting with his agenda in hand, ready to take charge. But then, an old farmer named Claude started to talk. Claude didn't have a fancy title. He wasn't pushy. But when he spoke, everyone in the room leaned in. His opinion held the most weight. Maxwell quickly realized that while he had the position, Claude had the influence. He was living on level 1, and it's a terrible place to stay. Positional leaders rely on rules, protocol, and saying the boss wants this done. Their people do the bare minimum, and the energy is always low. So how do you climb to the next level? You have to move from the head to the heart. This brings us to level 2, permission. This is the level of relationships. People follow you here not because they have to, but because they want to. This level is built on a simple truth that you should write down and never forget. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. True influence begins with connection. It's about putting down the rulebook and picking up a conversation. It's about learning your people's stories, their hopes, their struggles. On level 2, you stop seeing people as employees or subordinates and start seeing them as individuals. You listen. You build trust. You earn their permission to lead them. Think about Henry Ford in the early days. He wanted his workers to operate like machines, focusing only on the product, the Model T. When customers started asking for different colors, he famously said, "You can have any color you want as long as it's black." He completely missed the human element. He had position, but he struggled with permission. Maxwell teaches that you cannot lead people well without caring about them. When you earn this level, the work environment becomes more positive. People work harder, stay longer, and cooperate more. You've moved from being a boss to being someone they trust. But building great relationships isn't enough. Highly motivated people will get restless if all you do is talk. You have to get things done. This brings us to level 3, production. This is the level of results. People follow you because of what you have done for the organization. This is where leadership really starts to gain momentum. On level 3, you and your team are consistently hitting goals. Productivity is high, morale is soaring, and winning becomes a habit. This is where you become a leader that others want to be around, because you make things happen. It's like picking teams for a basketball game. Would you choose me, or would you choose LeBron James? You'd choose the guy who wins championships, the one who produces and inspires everyone around him to produce too. Maxwell points out that most of us naturally lean toward either level 2 relationships or level 3 results. Some teams are great friends, but they never accomplish anything. Others are incredibly productive, but everyone is miserable. The magic happens when you can do both. When you can build a team of people who genuinely like each other and get things done, you have created something powerful. You've combined permission with production. For many, this is the pinnacle of success. But Maxwell says there are 2 higher, more profound levels of leadership. This leads us to level 4, people development. This is the level of reproduction. People follow you now because of what you have done for them personally. This is a monumental shift. Great leaders aren't great because of their power, they're great because of their ability to empower others. Your focus moves from getting the work done to developing the people who do the work. You start investing your time and energy in helping your team members reach their own potential. You mentor them, you coach them, you give them opportunities to grow and to lead themselves. This is where leadership multiplies. You're not just leading followers anymore, you're building other leaders. And when you develop more leaders, the entire organization gets better. This level also creates a deep sense of loyalty. On level 1, people have to follow you. On level 2, they want to follow you. On level 3, they admire you for what you've done for the team. But on level 4, they become loyal to you because of what you've done for them personally. You've helped them grow, and that's a gift they will never forget. You win people's hearts by helping them become better versions of themselves. To operate on this level, Maxwell says you must first be passionate about your own personal growth. You cannot give what you do not have. You have to move from spending time with people to investing time in them, looking for a return not in personal gain, but in their development. And finally, we reach the very top of the ladder. Level 5 is the pinnacle. This is the level of respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. This level is reserved for leaders who have spent a lifetime leading well, investing in others, and developing leaders who have gone on to develop other leaders. Their reputation precedes them. Think of Nelson Mandela in government, Martin Luther King Jr. in social activism, or Jack Welch in business. They are pinnacle leaders. Their influence extends far beyond their job or their organization. It transcends their field, their country, and even their lifetime. Reaching the pinnacle isn't something you can force. Respect must be freely given by others, you can't demand it. It's the natural result of decades of consistently living out the other 4 levels with integrity and purpose. This 5-level framework is your roadmap. It applies to every relationship in your life, professional and personal. You are on a different level with different people, and your influence grows each time you climb a rung. But remember, you never leave a level behind. They build on each other. And it's a journey that never ends. So, if that's the journey, what are the tools you need to make the climb? The rest of Maxwell's book is dedicated to giving you the essential gear for your ascent. The first and most critical tool is understanding priorities. Maxwell learned at age 40 that he couldn't just work harder or longer, he had to work smarter. He realized a profound truth: you can't manage time. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day. The only thing you can manage is yourself and your choices. The question isn't, will my calendar be full, but who and what will fill my calendar? This is where he introduces the powerful Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. This principle states that 20% of your efforts produce 80% of your results. 20% of your clients bring in 80% of the profit. 20% of your work gives you 80% of your satisfaction. For a leader, the most important application of this principle is with your people. The top 20% of your team will produce 80% of the results. So where should you invest 80% of your time and development resources? On that top 20%. It feels counterintuitive. We often spend most of our time with the people who are struggling, but investing in your best people yields the greatest return for the entire organization. To further clarify priorities, Maxwell gives us the 3 R's: requirement, return, and reward. He urges us to constantly ask ourselves: 1. What is required of me? These are the things that only I can do and cannot delegate. 2. What gives the greatest return? These are the activities that tap into my greatest strengths and produce the best results for the organization. 3. What is most rewarding? These are the things I am passionate about, the things that make me think, I was born for this. Your goal as a leader is to align your life so that what's required of you, what gives the best return, and what you find most rewarding are all the same things. That's when you hit your sweet spot. But this intense focus on priorities can lead to burnout if you're not careful. That's why Maxwell introduces the crucial concept of margin. Margin is the space between your load and your limits. It's the gap between exhaustion and rest. For years, Maxwell tried to schedule every minute of his day, thinking he could eventually get caught up. He finally realized that work expands to fill the time available. Unless you intentionally create white space in your calendar, you will never have it. Margin isn't empty space, it's breathing room. It's where you have time for self-reflection, for creative thinking, and for energy renewal. The next tool for your climb is one that holds everything else together: character. Maxwell believes that the most difficult task any leader ever faces is leading themselves. People cannot climb beyond the limitations of their character. Why? Because good character builds strong trust, and trust is the foundation of leadership. Every interaction you have with someone is either a deposit into or a withdrawal from your trust account with them. You build trust not with grand gestures, but with consistent daily actions that show your walk matches your talk. In leadership, Maxwell says, "A pint of example is worth a gallon of advice." He breaks down character into 4 key dimensions. Authenticity, being real and open about your successes and your failures. Self-management, making the right choices before you're in a high-pressure situation by establishing guardrails based on your values. Humility, realizing that leadership is not about how important you can become, but about how much of a difference you can make in the lives of others. Courage, doing what's right even when it's hard, because character is only developed through trial and testing. Character is what makes you bigger on the inside than you are on the outside. And when you are strong on the inside, the outside will always benefit. Of course, leadership isn't just about who you are, it's about where you're going. This brings us to the ultimate test of leadership: creating positive change. Any leader can stand in front of a parade that's already moving in the right direction. True leadership is about turning a crowd that's headed the wrong way. Maxwell admits that people don't naturally resist change, they resist being changed. We all want progress, but we don't want the discomfort and awkwardness that comes with it. To guide people through this process, he developed an acrostic: plan ahead. Predetermine the change needed. Lay out your steps. Adjust your priorities. Notify key people. This first part is about strategy. But the second part is about people. Allow time for acceptance. Remember, effectiveness equals the quality of the idea multiplied by its acceptance. A great idea with 0 acceptance is still 0. Head into action. Expect problems. Always point to successes. Daily review your progress. Navigating change requires another essential tool: problem solving. Maxwell believes that problem solving is the quickest way to gain leadership, because problems introduce you to yourself, to others, and to new opportunities. When faced with a problem, a true leader doesn't see a dead end, they see a chance to prove their value. They believe there is always an answer, and they have the mental agility to look for it. They understand that problems handled well often make us better. As Maxwell puts it, the bang-ups and hang-ups of life have a way of humbling us. The experience moves us from thinking, "I wish life were easier," to thinking, "I wish I were better." Underpinning all of these tools is the extra plus in leadership: attitude. Leadership has less to do with your position and more to do with your disposition. The single most important attitude a leader can have is a whatever-it-takes mindset. It's an attitude of total commitment that separates those who dream from those who do. This mindset requires you to disown helplessness and refuse to be a victim. It means entering the no-whining zone and cultivating gratitude instead. It means nurturing your passion, Because vision doesn't ignite growth, passion does. And it means constantly striving to exceed expectations, making the expectations of others your absolute minimum. This attitude is built on a cycle of action. You test an idea, you are willing to fail, you learn from that failure, you improve, and then you re-enter the race, stronger and wiser than before. As you master these tools, you begin to understand the true heart of leadership: serving people. This was a life-changing realization for Maxwell, inspired by the speaker Zig Ziglar, who said, "If you help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want." This flips the traditional leadership pyramid upside down. The leader isn't at the top, they're at the bottom, supporting everyone else. A servant leader doesn't rely on their title, they choose to believe in people's potential. They measure their success not by their own accomplishments, but by how much value they add to others. They constantly ask themselves questions like, "What can I do to help my people succeed? And what is it like for the people who work with me?" This requires humility and a genuine desire to put others first. As Maxwell learned, the true leader serves people, serves their best interests. And all of this, influence, priorities, character, change, and service, is guided by the indispensable quality of leadership: vision. Vision is what separates wanderers from leaders. It's the ability to see more and before others. People do what people see, and they depend on the leader for that picture of the future. But vision isn't something you just find, it's something you cultivate. Maxwell says you must look within you. What are you passionate about? Vision comes from the inside. Look behind you. What have your past experiences taught you? Look around you. What is happening to your people? Are they ready for the vision? Look ahead of you. What is the big picture? A leader with vision knows that they have to believe it to see it, while most people have to see it to believe it. Finally, to tie it all together, to pay for all of this, there is one final price tag: self-discipline. President Harry Truman once said that the first victory great people win is over themselves. Self-discipline comes first. It is the engine that drives the entire climb. Maxwell offers a simple, powerful mantra to explain why this is so critical: everything worthwhile is uphill. Think about it. A healthy marriage? Uphill. Financial security? Uphill. A successful career? Uphill. There are no accidental achievements. The only way to make that challenging, strenuous climb is with the deliberate, consistent, and willful power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is what turns good intentions into good actions. It makes habit your servant instead of your master. And it's what makes consistency possible. And over time, consistency compounds, creating extraordinary results from ordinary daily actions. The journey of developing the leader within you is not a short trip. It's a lifelong climb. It begins with the simple realization that leadership is influence. It follows a roadmap up through 5 levels of earned respect. And it requires a toolkit filled with priorities, character, courage, service, vision, and the self-discipline to use them every single day. It's a journey that asks you to become bigger on the inside, so you can make a bigger impact on the outside. Commentary. As we step back and look at the landscape of John C. Maxwell's work, what truly stands out is its beautiful simplicity and its profound humanity. In a world that often complicates leadership with complex theories and impenetrable jargon, Maxwell brings it all back to a few timeless, foundational truths. The most powerful of these is that leadership is not an exclusive club. It's not reserved for the chosen few with the right title or the corner office. It's a choice available to every single one of us, every single day. It's the choice to influence, the choice to serve, and the choice to grow. This book is more than a manual, it's an invitation. It invites you to stop waiting for permission to lead and to start earning it. It asks you to shift your focus from what you can get to what you can give. It challenges you to understand that the greatest obstacle you will ever face is not your competition or your circumstances, but the person you see in the mirror each morning. So, how can you start applying these ideas right now? Today, let me offer just 2 simple actions. First, conduct a 24-hour service audit. For the next day, your primary goal is not to advance your own agenda, but to find one small way to serve each key person in your life. For a team member, it might be offering help without being asked. For a friend, it might be truly listening without interrupting. For a family member, it might be taking on a chore they dislike. Don't announce it. Just do it. At the end of the day, reflect on how it felt and how people responded. You will have just taken your first step from level 1 to level 2 leadership. Second, identify your one uphill habit. Maxwell's mantra that everything worthwhile is uphill is a call to action. What is the one thing you know you should do, but you often avoid because it's difficult? Maybe it's making that tough phone call, spending the first 15 minutes of your day planning, or choosing to read instead of scroll. Whatever it is, commit to doing just that one thing tomorrow, whether you feel like it or not. Don't worry about next week or next month. Just win tomorrow. That is how the muscle of self-discipline begins to grow. That was a summary of Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John C. Maxwell. We've touched on the core principles today, but I have to be honest with you. A summary is like looking at a photograph of the Grand Canyon. You can appreciate its beauty, but you can't feel the scale, the wind, or the awe of standing on the edge. The real transformation happens when you immerse yourself in the book. It's in the quiet moments when one of Maxwell's stories or a single sentence resonates with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your map, but the book itself is the journey. If anything we've discussed has sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning concepts, it's an experience that can genuinely change how you see yourself and your potential to lead. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep climbing that mountain together.